Welcome to Flight 705, Pissweek Airlines, formerly known as Heathrow Airlines. It's a pleasant 15 degrees Celsius on this lovely Australian summer's day. And it's the last day of work for the year. You little beauty. Buckle up, groovers. Oh, sorry, you can't. There are no seatbelts on this flight. It's plain. Not this flight specifically, just generally. Safety is not a priority on this airline. Hope you brought your own snacks and drinks because we don't provide them either. Also, before I hit the road, before takeoff, big shout out to Guru End of the World, I think. Guru something. For one of the funniest comments left under one of my videos ever. Cracked me up this morning. I needed a laugh. Well, I didn't need a laugh. I was happy as Larry, but why is Larry the decider of happiness? You know, why is it a Larry scale? Who the fuck is Larry? Scout, hello. It's the last day of work, so why not go live? And I've got a me little theory I want to share with all y'all. But yeah, some of you 4chan dudes are a bit rude. I can take it though. Say what you got to say. But Guru, thanks for the laughs. The amount of time, it might have been a copy paste, but the amount of time you put into that and Crocodile D in the middle of it all just killed me. We're still hello. Just cleaning my glasses before takeoff. Oh, it's the most wonderful time. It's the most wonderful time of the year. 11 degrees. Ugh. You're in tears. Oh, the tube. I know, the Hillcrest primary kids. Okay, pip, and we're away. And no 4chan person. I'm not a dude, but thank you for that. Yeah, vacation coming, or holidays as we call it. Because you guys have so many holidays, like, you mark all the days and call them holidays. I guess that's why you call vacation, to separate the two. Whereas we have public holidays, which is what you guys call holidays, and then we have holidays, which is, I'm leaving on a jet plane, possibly, or just going to the shack for a month, whatever. Plus, we finish 3 p.m. Just a bit of a bonus. Although we had to put in annual leave for the 2 hours from 3 till 5, and pretty much going to spend most of that in Christmas traffic. But anyway. So, yeah, guys, I got a theory. But because of patchy reception between here and the highway, I'm going to save it. So we can just chat and say good day and hear what everybody's up to. Eating soup on an 11-degree day. Ooh. We finally got summer. Look at that sky. Look at that sky, groovers. It was hot yesterday. Anyway, there's always the little straggly ones left at the end. Adjusting my visor. I have morning sun in my eyeball. Just as a word of warning, though, my theory isn't going to change the world. Nor, as Guru implied, am I trying to crack this case. Absolutely not. That ain't my job, but I'm certainly observing it like everyone else. But I do have me a theory, and I know already some of you are going to go, you're giving way too much credit to a certain thing. And I'm going to be like, yeah, for the sake of this theory, I have to. And if I'm correct, it's a stroke of, well, not genius, but good on them. If they aren't doing it yet, they should be. So my theory is either correct or I'm putting it out there. You could implement this because I think it might help. Because we've been talking a lot about social media impacting civil and criminal trials on this channel for a long time and on my other channel as well. Oh, guys, we're one subscriber off 500 too. If anyone pops in, I get more people watching this channel that aren't subscribed than subscribed. So come on, mofos, hit the subscribe button. Someone be our 500th subscriber. This channel had like 340 subscribers 2 weeks ago because it really was just a library of my podcast. It's been fun watching new people join our community because our community is funny and supportive and reasonable. You know, all the things. I will scout, but not till I get out on the highway because I already know that I'm going to drop in and out. So I'm selecting when I give you the juice. So for now, it's just small talk. But it's not a theory about the case. So don't get all excited, everybody, that I'm cracking the case because I'm not. I'm not even trying to. I couldn't. We've got 5 or maybe 10% of the information the cops have got. Ain't nobody gonna look. I shouldn't say that. Somebody may. Some civilian may crack it, but they'll be putting in so much work to do that. And if they're able to crack it on 5 or 10% of the information, they really need to be employed. Seriously, I'm not being glib. Like they really should. We are a lovely bunch. We're the smoother bunch. Yeah, so this ain't a theory that's going to solve the case. I just think that there's enough to suggest that this observation, let's call it that I've made is possible. And if it's not, it should be. But yeah, we need to hit 500 subs. That's my priority today. Don't worry about links, Scout. Today it's all about getting a 500 subscriber. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love it when you do the links, but my priority today is let's get that 500 sub. Woo-hoo! I'd like to get 1,000 before the end of the year, but that's a big ask. So we're going for 500. If anyone comes in and says g'day, people are so reluctant to say hello in a small chat. Like when there's, 1,000 people watching and 300 of them or 200 of them are chatting, people are way more comfortable to say g'day. But we're friendly here and we're reasonable and you can have a different opinion and you're not going to get your bloody head bitten off or blocked because of it. To be honest, I'll probably do this little theory when we're crawling, like now. So, the area of law that I'm really fascinated in, I'm still trying to find a course I can do because that's one of the daggy things about lawyers. Like, we're nerds about law. Most people, when they finish their job, they go home and they just want to focus on other hobbies or whatever that are nothing to do with their jobs. But lawyers seem to not be able to switch off and are often fascinated, by other areas of law they don't practice in. I mean, I started out as a criminal lawyer, as you guys know. I always wanted to do crim. My dad was a criminal lawyer as well, as were other members of my family, lawyers too. But we like researching and studying, and I mean, in fact, you have to as a lawyer. Your life is a constant study. You're always reading up on new case law, amendments to legislation, all that sort of stuff. Nurses are the same. Interesting. So what do nurses do when they knock off? Are they researching new medicines and techniques, and are they looking at decisions made by whoever the governing medical board is that looks into medical negligence? Like, what are they up to? I've got some nurse friends. I should ask them too. Yeah, nurses are awesome. Especially after what they went through and are still going through with COVID. Like, yes, it did ravage, in particular, the elderly population, but wow, the loss of doctors and nurses all over the world is horrific. And just, some of their videos on YouTube, like the amount of time they spent on wards, doing back-to-back shifts and having to wear the same PPE and, marks on their faces from the masks, and then talking about colleagues who'd succumbed to COVID. Like, it was just heartbreaking. And 99% of them are like, please don't thank me or call me a hero, because I'm just doing my job. I have to laugh when YouTubers say, I put a lot of work into this, I work hard. Look, you do, if you've got a channel that you do research, and report responsibly and stuff, yeah, you do research, you do put in work, you do some work. For me, it's fun. Like, it's not a job, it's not a chore. It's certainly not doing a back-to-back shift in a COVID ward. We'll be in Crawley land, okay? So thanks to all the new people that are putting comments under my videos and stuff. Some of you are hilarious. Some of you are sarcastic, and one of you is a bit of a wanker. But that's all right. Wankers are welcome here too. Unless you use hate speech, and then you got to go. And I'm talking hardcore hate speech. We're not woke here. But there's a couple of words that we don't use around here. And neither should you. More because of, well, you sort of have to be a little bit PC, unfortunately, at times on the YouTubes, but also YouTube's a bit of a weird platform in that they like to monitor our speech incredibly closely, but let the Joseph Morrises of the world fake evidence in a quadruple murder that's being investigated at the moment. That's okay. That went through. God forbid you say penis in the comments. Look out. I may not get much Crawley traffic because most people are not working today. Most people are already on holiday. But being a community lawyer, we have people who need us for support and advice even now. So we stay open. Most sort of outreach services, including us, are open today. But I don't think there'll be as much traffic. And of course, we don't have to deal with any school traffic. So that's a bonus. There's some good reading under my lives in the last week. Ever since I talked about Granny Beryl and her 4chan cap and t-shirt, it's brought a whole heap of new people to my yard. And they're bloody funny, some of them. But Guru in particular, the one I read this morning, oh my God, I was wetting my pants. It is funny. I mean, it's graphic, but funny as well. You've got to have a look at it. I think it's under the last live I did, the social media one. So now to my little theory. It's very short. Observation, possibly, rather than theory. So we're always chatting about how social media is impacting civil and criminal trials. And even last night, yesterday, I did a live about it, looking at the Idaho 4 and then looking at the Queensland killings in Australia with our media and our police departments publicly asking people on social media platforms to calm the farm. You know, I mean, there's been a request now specifically to ask people to stop doxing people and contacting people. The person that owns that, look at this view, guys. Breathe it in. Breathe it in. And then it made me think afterwards, like, you know, we were asking yesterday in that live, you know, what can they do? I mean, they've talked about possibly charging people if they're too reckless, but then you look at what Joseph Morris did and that seems to just be, you know, not an issue. And the criminal charge thing is, you know, it's tricky in a way. Not to say they can't do it, but I just don't think they've got the manpower to monitor everything that's happening online. I don't think it's unrealistic to expect in the next decade for every police department to have a specific social media department to go after people, possibly, because it's getting out of hand. But today we're going to talk about the Grub Truck videos. You're looking at ice on the ground. Well, I'm happy to provide beautiful scenery, if nothing else. Oh, I just swapped lanes to get away from the tailgating tosspot behind me, and he's jumped across. God damn it. Let's see if I can get in front of the Micra. Oh, damn, he is too. I was going to try. I couldn't do it. I was thinking about getting in front of the Micra but then slowing down so that he gets stuck behind it, but no. You don't have to be right up my clacker, mate. It's an open road. There's room for all of us. I need a rear view camera. So you guys can see how much Tasmanians love to tailgate. Yeah, so the Grub Truck. So they put out the first video and everybody goes ballistic and starts naming a guy who still hasn't been verified by any credible information or sources at all. But they named him. Hoodie guy I'm talking about. They named him. And then some of them went on these really deep dives into his entire family history and pretty much pitched to their communities, their subscribers, that he was clearly the guilty party in this horrible story. And I mean, like, invaded every aspect of his life. And I suspect his family were in regular contact with the cops and so on. And then, like 4 weeks later, just last week, or this week, the start of this week, another bit of footage comes out and it's given to Fox News, who publish it, which clearly exonerates Woody Guy because he's just hanging out with the girls and having a good old time minutes before they get to the food truck. And I did a quick bounce around last night and again this morning, and the channels that pretty much dox the crap out of him and his family, as usual on YouTube, rather than going, oh my God, I got this wrong, I'm going to take down that live, I've been irresponsible. They're like, I'm big enough to admit I got it wrong, and then they move on to the next person that they think's guilty because of this second video. It's so disappointing. You can't be reckless with people's lives. And God only knows what that kid's gone through in the last few weeks. And they go, oh, I got it wrong, my bad. All right, next person to crucify, let's go. You guys are talking about the weather. I'm trying to tell you my theory. Interesting. I'm letting Tailgater Mofo pass me. Bye, Tailgater Mofo. By the way, it's 80 through here and I'm doing 80 exactly. So what are you doing? Huh? Huh? So my theory, my observation is I reckon the cops decided, because they've continually asked people on social media to stop all the like highfalutin speculating and doxing people and blaming people and naming. No, I don't blame you because I'm showing you amazing weather and it sounds like you're having shit weather. But I'll just focus on the drive and tell you my theory. My observation is that the cops, I think they've engaged little Poindexters who are hanging out on some of the really large Facebook groups and stuff like that because they're constantly asking people on social media to calm down, and they wouldn't be doing that unless they had a lot of information about what's going on social media, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if they got Poindexters in all these groups, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Poindexter in one of those Facebook groups who released that second Grub Truck video deliberately to Fox because they're dubious from what I can tell. Don't know that for a fact, but I haven't seen a lot of, they're the most responsible media outlet in America. I've heard the contrary plenty of times. So they hand it over to Fox, knowing exactly that Fox is going to put it out there. And it's going to take the heat off Woody Guy because Woody Guy's family keep ringing them saying, oh my God, we are literally getting people rocking up to our house and we're getting death threats and our kids like in hiding in a home, he can't go anywhere. You got to help us. And the cops are like, all right, well, let's put out another bit of the Grub Truck footage that shows that he wasn't sleazy or creepy. In fact, the girls looked like they were having a ball with him. And that'll take the heat off him. And then because of what we're seeing on social media, we also know that the YouTubers and the TikTokers are going to obsess on this new video and start analysing the crap out of that. While we get on with investigating the murders, let's throw a little red herring to keep them all occupied because we've watched them analyse the first Grub Truck video for 4 weeks. Let's chuck out another one and let them all hone in on that. Because if you go onto YouTube right now and click live or new to you, there'll be channels a lot that are live right now analysing Grub Truck video number 2. I know there were because I looked this morning before I hit the road. And there were plenty of channels live, many of whom absolutely defamed and slandered the hoodie guy and were so pathetic they literally went, I got it wrong. Oh, well, let's find someone else in this footage. Let's go back to the original. All right, let's have a look at Joe, the chonkier guy, who has been verified as being Joe because he spoke to the police and media and said, yeah, that's me, I'm Joe. So now they're all going back to OG Grub Truck video to see who else in that footage could be the killer. I think that, personally, I think the cops have deliberately released that second video because they needed to take the heat off hoodie guy. Hey, Emily, whose life has probably been absolute shit for the last 4 weeks. And in doing so, in putting out that video that pretty much clears the kid, they've also fed the social media sleuths something else to slow down and speed up and analyse and bloody talk about for days on end. And if they've done it deliberately, then I think it's a bloody brilliant move, and I'm impressed. Kudos. Now, I know that there are probably people that will go, you're giving Ellie way too much credit, but I think people are underestimating Ellie too much. Yes, sometimes Ellie fuck up. Yes, there are corrupt cops. Yes, that does all come out in the wash. Look at Delphi. But just because that happened in Delphi doesn't mean it's going to happen in every single case. And while I've got some views on how Moscow PD have handled it, to me they've handled it like a PD in a small town that haven't had to deal with a quadruple murder, let alone a murder for 6 years. They've reacted just the way I expected them to. We'd think that they would. But the fact that the FBI are there too, which a lot of the YouTubers don't seem to remember. Have I got 500? Woo! Thank you, whoever it was. It's a Christmas miracle. No, thank you for that. Whoever subscribed, I love you. I wish they'd let us know, like you get these bloody badges and, they're, e-badges. They're not, you don't get sent a badge. You get these things you can put up on your channel. I wish they'd do one that says so-and-so was your 500th subscriber. Because that's more relevant to me than me going, oh, look, I've now got 28 views. And YouTube sent me a little certificate. So welcome, subscriber 500. I appreciate very much. Thank you. I've got plenty of time to go through this theory of mine, or this observation, when we get to the car park. But do you guys think I'm onto something? Do you think it's possibly what they're doing? Because I must admit, I'm a bit disappointed in a creator. I'm not going to say their name, but they've bought into video number 2 and they're analysing it, and they've got pretty firm opinions about what Kaylee was saying, like what she meant when she was like, what did you tell Adam? And this creator keeps going on this hypothesizing rant. God damn it. I tried to get over. Oh my God, that truck didn't let me over. And then right at the last minute, jumped into the other lane. Teaser. Jack Green heading to Hobart. Let's get a beer and a burger, mate. I'm surprised you're not being accused of being the killer with a name like Jack. I love the name Jack too. My sister's got a dog, Jackie Chan. Jack Chan. Chan, funnily enough. If any of my new 4chan buddies have a crack, I'm going to say, hey, we've got a dog called Jackie Chan. And he's got, I see what you did. You're 500. Woo, yay. Look at this go. Look, if I could remember my password to get back into Boot, Scoot and Cooter, I'd subscribe too. I just can't remember the password. And I can't remember well, in fact, I don't even know if the email's around anymore because I didn't use it for, I think Google might have done a sweep of inactive emails or something, and Boot, Scoot and Cooter got chucked out with the trash. Wasn't that fun though? Like, for those of you that were around back then, back when YouTube used to be fun, like we had the Cooters who weren't assholes. They were just entertaining, and a group of us, and nobody had any idea who the fuck we were until a very embittered person who did know who we all were couldn't help herself and created a really nasty cooter and then pretty much outed all of us, which really annoyed me at the time because we were having so much fun and we weren't causing chaos or anything, but everyone was like, who the fuck are the cooters? And then suddenly all these other people started becoming cooters who weren't in the cooter OG group, and that was hard because they weren't necessarily funny. Some of them were assholes, in fact. I was up at Blues Fest at a bloody 5-day music festival over Easter while the cooters were all essentially exposed. And I'd been having so much fun. It was a really good creative writing exercise. Our characters were funny. People were digging us. And then because this person who just couldn't let anyone else be getting more attention than them, outed us all. Yeah, the cooters were great. And then, I mean, if I do say so myself, but then then other groups started to emerge. Like there was the group of Smurfs. There's a group of Care Bears. They used to creep me out because they were always like talking in baby talk and I'm going to cuddle woo, that sort of shit. Yeah, that. They never hit the mark the way the cooters had. But it was a great time. They were the fun days on YouTube. Let's bring them back. If I'd thought about it, I would have. So I've got time on my hands, but no, I'll go to the car park. But next time, in fact, even when I leave for home today, no, I won't. I'm not going anywhere near Salamanca. It'll be crazy. I was going to show you Jack Green's. Yeah, the Care Bears were creepy. I agree. But the cooters were fun, and nobody knowing who we were was what made it so much fun. I never really got into the Smurfs. They sort of weren't really in my. I mean, I heard about them and I saw them occasionally, but they were in channels I didn't watch. Well, the sad thing is that things like the Cooters. I mean, that was back in the day when mods for a channel would all be in a chat together. Thinking our private conversations would never get put out on YouTube with our Facebook names that are usually our real names. They used to be. Mine still is. I don't give a shit. But we were able to come up with ideas like that. But now everyone won't do chat bubbles and stuff because if you've got a bad seed in the gang, and the odds are you will have one day, if they feel shitty because they get demodded or whatever, the next thing you know, all your private chats are put out. So you need to have like a space where you've got a collective of people that can come up with ideas like that and not be living in fear of having all their conversations put out for everyone to see. It's a lot harder to do something like the Cooters without having. Look at it, the car park is dead. I'm going to park here today. Something different. Nobody's working today, just me and a few other suckers. You watch some of those channels just to see what they would say. Look, I'm all for that stuff. There's some bloody brilliant trolling that can be done online, like fun. Oh yeah, the ponies. Yeah, thumbs up, Groovers. So back to I do have to put on some sort of face shortly, but not much of one because it's it's our last day and we're not. But I hope I'm not saying a client. I'm in a sundress and sandals. Figure the last day of the year you can dress down a bit. You don't have to. But not that I'm super corporate. We represent workers, so we're often in jeans and blunnies and not suits and stilettos. Thank God. But yeah, so back to my observation. I wouldn't be surprised if the PD or FBI or whoever said, "Look, we keep putting messages in all of our press releases and interviews, specifically asking people to calm down on social media platforms and to stop, being reckless." And, now they've got Kaylee Gonsalves' dad asking people to stop doxing and contacting the owner of that Elantra that was found in Oregon that's got nothing to do with the case at all. Like that owner has been bombarded with contact. And it wouldn't surprise me if they're like, fuck, what can we do? And then they're like, well, everyone was mulling over that Grub Truck footage for weeks on end. We've got another bit of Grub Truck video we can put out. It will pretty much clear Hoodie Guy. And they might all just focus in on that and let us get on with doing what we're doing. Like, let's distract them. And if they haven't thought to do that, here's a hint, guys, do it. Because it's brilliant. And like I was saying, I did get sidetracked slightly when we went down Cooter Avenue. But, yeah, there's a creator who I have always considered to be pretty responsible, does actually do some work, has some skills that come in handy, who's now constantly going over this second Grub Truck footage and speaking like they know what it's like to be a 20-year-old drunk college kid out on the town, and has basically decided that what that conversation between Kaylee and Maddie's about and won't budge from it. I am in a sundress. You're in thermals and heavy sweats. You do need to come to Tassie Scout. You know you're always welcome. Even though when you get to my place, you won't talk to me. You'll just hang out with Sunny the whole time. I know what's going to happen. But that's fine. She's the hostess with the mostess. Hey, Dan Plemick. Nice to see you. Idaho police and FBI have to have a key suspect in their crosshairs, and I suspect the info they're letting leak is me too. Me too. And isn't it great? Because the social media sleuths aren't paying any attention to polite requests to stop meddling. You know who I mean? Yeah, it is. It's very disappointing. And fancy like deciding, if you do know who I mean, that you know what it's like to be a 20-year-old drunk college girl. Because I saw that video and I thought, that's the sort of conversations I even have with my girlfriends now. Like, what on earth did you say to him? Oh, I told him everything. That's how I see it. But I can also reinterpret it 50,000 other ways too. But I'm not going to go live and say I'm right on this and just keep making a big deal out of it. But I think it's a stroke of absolute brilliance if this is what they've done. They've deliberately put this second red herring out. Because the other thing too is, with that creator and many others, is that not only do they think that conversation between Kaylee and Maddie is the key to the whole murders, which it's not. Do you think the 5 to 10% they put out for the public is the stuff that's going to solve this crime? Hell no. They're not giving us that stuff. They're giving us frill. But you've got all these YouTubers now saying, oh, that, you know, this is the lead up. This is why the murders happen. So now they've thrown another dude out there as the murderer. And don't get me wrong, you know, if you look at that person and think about motive and all the rest of it, they tick some boxes. But this same creator who's saying, oh, this is all, you know, clearly Maddie was, you know, had told them everything and Kaylee's really upset about it. Well, why isn't Kaylee's dad fussed about it at all when he talks about it? Not remotely fussed, just says, oh, it's just, you know, nice to know that the girls were out having fun on the last night of their lives. He's not remotely fussed. I don't think he's good enough an actor to be worded up to act like it doesn't bother him for the sake of the public. But I just find it so weird that these creators have seen that footage and they have decided how they've interpreted it is the right way, and they're completely ignoring the interview with her father, who's not remotely fussed about it at all. At all. And this is the thing, they keep latching onto something and then ignoring another part of the something that kind of explains it. They latch onto one thing and head down this road, but the other part of the one thing tells them that there's no point going down that road, and they ignore it. So, yeah, even creators who used to, I thought, be pretty responsible and stick to the facts are now buying it too. I'm actually in shock, the one I'm talking about. Like, I never, ever thought. And the fact that they've done more than one live about it and they're still sticking to their guns that they're onto something. But not once have they commented on how Kaylee's dad doesn't think there's a thing to worry about in that footage. Not a thing. Someone who actually helped create that human being and raise them and knew Maddie like a daughter doesn't see anything remotely concerning. And I think, you know, getting him up there and saying that is also just like a bit of a look who's getting the last laugh here, because all these social media twits have bought into it and they've completely ignored Kaylee's dad, who actually knew her and would know if she said something and was scared or worried or angry or upset or just having a good time. They're probably laughing their heads off. Like, hey, check them out. Look at them. They've cherry-picked the bit they want. They're making a big deal out of it, and they're ignoring Kaylee's father sitting there saying it gives us comfort to see that they were having fun. We've literally got 5 or maybe 10% of the info. It is, and it is getting messy. And this is why finding different angles I don't think I'm going to solve the case. Someone said that in one of my comments, and I'm like, I've no desire to do that. It's not my job. But what I am into as a lawyer is watching this shit show unravel. And all I can keep thinking is, if I was still doing criminal law, I would be employing 10 people right now to monitor absolutely everything that's going on social media so that I can discredit the key witnesses for the prosecution or any of the witnesses. The example I keep using is Quinton Simon and how the babysitter spoke to 2 different YouTubers and the story changed. And in Quinton Simon's case, she's a pretty important witness. But she'd also be very easy to strike now because we can show she's not credible because her story changed within 24, 48 hours. So that's where I'm watching this on with interest. And also just the whole social media impacting trials generally, be it civil or criminal. We don't know what the everything is. I mean, it could be anything, correct. And people keep saying, that's another thing too. Look at the way people who knew these kids describe them. The one thing that comes up all the time about Maddie is how funny she is, or was. Hilarious. Probably fluent in sarcasm. I told him everything. Could be very fucking sarcastic and just stirring Maddie up. Everyone's going to interpret stuff differently, but the crucial thing with that second video is look at Kaylee's own dad and how he reacts to it. And they've known about it for weeks too. He's not remotely fussed or worried. And we've been talking about what's it going to take. I think this is what it's going to have to take. I think PD, FBI, CIA, ASIO, whoever's investigating anything, is going to have to start throwing red herrings out into the social media land and let them all bloody, hone in on it like flies to a shit and buzz around and analyse it and look at this little shit. And meanwhile, in the background, the cops are just investigating and the social media noise is getting quieter because they just keep throwing little red herrings out. If they're not doing it deliberately, they should be. Well, yeah, they do have their own agenda, clicks and views, but this smart talk, thank you. It has to stop. But I don't think charging people with their behaviour on social media platforms is realistic, just in terms of manpower, where the legislation is. I'd love somebody to get sued. I'd love a precedent to be set, but that's what needs to happen. So for enforceability to be worthwhile. So I don't know. I'm not sure if that's realistic. But what might be is, okay, you want to meddle in our investigation? Well, we're going to meddle in your theorising and sensationalising. That's what I'd be doing if I was a cop. Let's see what other information. And don't get me wrong, I think some of their requests are legitimate. Like if this Elantra is key to this case, ask the public to get into it. Get the sleuths onto that stuff because they need feet on the ground. They need people looking into that. Absolutely. Of course you'd recruit the public to help with something like that. That's a massive task to locate a car. And a pretty common car at that. So, yeah, all for it. Let the sleuths, give them projects for sure. But when they don't have a new project, then chuck a little red herring, which is why my title is, Can I Get a Red Herring at the Grub Truck? Because I think releasing that second piece of video was a stroke of brilliance, if it was deliberate. Oh, yeah, going to the location. I mean, that Elantra, The stolen Elantra or the pranked Elantra on the side of the road, sleuths were trying to break into it. It could have been part of the crime scene. It could have been a crucial bit of evidence. And these sleuths are trying to break into it? No, no. Don't do that. It is pathetic. And they've got a fraction of information. There is a very big difference in helping and not interfering. Exactly. And there's many examples of where getting the public to keep an eye out for stuff is definitely warranted and can be really productive. But if these social media idiots want to be part of the investigation, then be led by the people that are actually doing the investigation. So when they say, hey guys, we're looking for this car. Can you all help us out? Yep, not a problem. Of course we will. We're more than happy to help you, O fearless leader. But when you don't have a project, just follow it. I've said a million times, there's no problem. Human beings speculate, but do it around your dining room table with your friends or get on Zoom and chat to people about it. Putting it out there on social media and putting it out there as being gospel is the problem. And they're asking you to stop doing it, not just in the United States, but in Australia and possibly in other countries too, where cases are being investigated right now. The online sleuthers don't listen. They don't care. They're very quick to criticise the cops and say that they're doing a bad job and the case is going cold. Nobody's actually analysing what the FBI is doing, interestingly. Very quick to criticise. But then completely ignore requests for them to back off a bit and stop going real life and stop doxing people. Stop meddling. Stop calling in 10,000 tips. Some of them could be really good tips. But imagine how many of those 10,000 tips are the same tips. Because somebody saw somebody on YouTube say something and then 80 subscribers in that chat take it upon themselves to decide it's a tip worth reporting. And then there's 80 more tips on the list, even though it's all about the same thing that some inexperienced, unqualified YouTuber has stated as fact. Yeah, getting help to find a car, but the people go beyond that. They do. And it did turn out to be a tourist attraction. And sleuths were trying to break into it. Like, oh my God, that could be the car. Call it in. Don't touch it, though. And if you do break in and your DNA is all over it and suddenly you're put out as a possible suspect, well, serves you fucking right. I love your title. I'd like a red herring, please. No sriracha. I might have to change it. Brian Enton's a legitimate news reporter and investigating what is going on. Then you get these YouTube creators who want to be reporters and interfere with the case. Shame on them. Yeah, well, there's mixed views about Brian on the YouTubes too. Everyone's a critic. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm happy to critique and be critical of Ashley Banfield because she's feeding the sleuths. But who's to say, this is another plot twist, who's to say that the cops won't start utilising media too to feed the sleuth stuff? I mean, everybody wants this person caught. Nobody wants this person to get away. And imagine how infuriating it's going to be for the families of the victims if the person who did it gets away because of social media interference. Or if they get the right person, but that person is acquitted because of social media interference. I mean, it's pretty rich to be sitting at your computer saying that LA are doing a crappy job when you're also in communities sleuthing people and doxing them and contacting them and going real life? Who's the lesser of two evils? Yeah, that poor owner, she was inundated with calls, and they continued after the cops said not related. Stop calling that person. Just imagine how unfortunate. I mean, you've got pretty average taste in cars, but you'd never buy a bloody Elantra again, would you? Hello, Shady Man. Stick a red herring on the Barbie, please. Exactly. We like a charcoal red herring. Shady Man is in the house. Shady Man is in the house. Yo, homies. All right. I don't need mountains of makeup, but I would like some mascara because I don't have those, crazy eyelashes. Have you noticed? I mean, look, people, do whatever you want. Your body, your choice. There's a heap of videos on TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Instagram where they're asking men what they don't find attractive in women, and nearly all of them, without a doubt, say they're not into this fake eyelash trend, the giant spider lashes. They don't find it attractive. They don't like it. They actually, a lot of them say they don't like them because it actually takes away from their eyes. They can't see the eyes very clearly because there's a mountain of fake lashes surrounding them, and they'd rather be looking at your eyes than two big fat spiders stuck on your face. Just a comment, an observation. But it's pretty interesting. They like their girls natural, mate. Oh, thanks, Emily. Yeah, look, it's a shitty time of the year for people, and it's very stressful for a lot of our clients. They don't really have much cause to celebrate this Christmas or festive season because of what's going on in their lives. And yeah, I'm glad that we are open for them, and a lot of other community legal centres and outreach services are as well. Because, there's not a lot we can do for them with their matters now until the new year with, even the courts and tribunals take a little bit of a break between Christmas and New Year. But also being our summer holidays, a lot of businesses don't open till mid-January. So we can't really fix their problems today, but we can certainly chat to them and let them talk about how they're feeling and hopefully give them enough support that they can hang in there till everyone's back in the new year. So it's it's a pleasure to work today. Yeah, the men don't dig the falsies. Thanks, Scout. This isn't a monetized channel, Shady Man. But yeah, it's not monetized. It's not only. I'm very proud of the 500 subscribers that I have. But there's no super chat or anything like that on this channel. It's not monetized, and it won't be for a long time. But when it can be, what I want to do is move memberships from Tasmania Calling over to this channel, and then we'll continue to sponsor critters into the new year, or in the new year, whenever I get monetized. So if you are a member on the other channel, I really appreciate it, but don't feel like you've got to keep renewing that one. Like, you can let it go. I'm still sponsoring critters, like, don't get me wrong, but I think that's going to be the ultimate goal. But yeah, no, there won't be any AdSense or anything like this on this channel, because that's another thing that's annoying is when you, like this channel, I don't have YouTube Premium. I'm paying for that on the other channel. So anything I want to watch in replay, I have to put up with ads. And it's actually quite interesting seeing how many channels, how many ads they put in and the type of ads, and like, because you can choose whether they're ones that you can skip through or if you've got to sit through them. It's pretty interesting and frustrating when you're listening to someone who's quite intelligent and has some good stuff to say, and then every 3 or 5 minutes is another friggin' ad. It puts me off. I don't watch commercial TV for the same reason. I mean, I worked for a commercial radio station. I'm not a fan of ads. I live in the middle of nowhere, and there are girls that still feel the need for the fake lashes. It makes me laugh. I'm like, where are you going? Yeah, I mean, it's funny here because Tassie, we've all been pretty sort of down to earth. And I mean, I didn't wear makeup until I went to America, and my host sister taught me how to put makeup on my face. I literally wore some mascara and lip balm to my Year 12 school formal. We weren't allowed to wear it to school. So we're a pretty natural kind of place, very outdoorsy and stuff. But there's the younger generation now that have got the duck lips and the boobs and everything else. And I get it, that's their generation. They're all into that sort of stuff. It's a shame they're not. Waiting too, like even my niece, who's like, our family were all very flat chested often until we left school, and then we'd suddenly get boobs. I was a bit pleased to hear that my niece wants to wait till she's in her 20s to decide if she wants to do something about her boobs, because she knows she's still growing. But she's got other friends that have already booked in their boob jobs the second they're old enough to get them. But they're also the TikTok generation. These are kids that, career-wise, are witnessing other people on TikTok making a decent living by just looking gorgeous on TikTok. So they're all feeling pressured to look gorgeous as well, because they may also be able to have a career on TikTok rather than having to study or get some sort of tradie qualification. And the problem is that TikTok is not going to be, the rest of their lives. I mean, hell, some of them have probably made enough money already they can retire before they're 25, but they're the minority. It's not going to happen to everyone. It's kind of interesting watching the younger generation and just how different their childhood and young adulthood is compared to ours. I'm glad I'm not in that generation. I couldn't be bothered. It's all too high maintenance for me. Going to spend a lot of time with beautiful Sunny for show. Oh, you've got 4 days off, Shady Man. You've been working your butt off. You're going to keep the membership going? Well, bless you, but I don't want people to feel like they have to. I mean, mind you, the memberships, even my highest level is like, what, $6.99 or something. That's $6.99, not $699, before anyone gets a bit excited. Yeah, we're growing. I'm loving it. It's fun. It's really fun. And it's fun that there's a lot of new subscribers. I hope that after a while they'll feel comfy to join in the chat and stuff, because there's some really interesting comments being left under my lives, but it's a really active channel. It's fun. It's taken me back to when my other channel that's had a million different names, but when that started growing, like, it's a buzz. It's fun for sure. And meeting new people, because there's a whole heap of people on YouTube that I've never heard of before who are starting to comment and stuff. And it's like, this is great. Like, like-minded people. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure I'm going to be attracting people who want to call me a dude and all of that sort of stuff, but we'll deal with it. mean, they can call me. I wish I was a dude. I think my life would be way easier if I'd been a guy. I've always felt like I'm a gay man in a woman's body, to be honest. But if I had a choice at birth, I'd be a dude. Sonny's got a TikTok. I thought I was always going to get the fake boobs. When it came time, I knew some women who had it done, they were in a lot of pain. Some still weren't happy, and one got breast cancer. That's awful. Yeah, and I mean, one of the doctors that I dated had a really good friend who was a plastic surgeon, and we were at dinner one night, and this plastic surgeon was saying there's two types of plastic surgery patients. There's the person that has one thing about their body that really bugs them, and they get it fixed or changed or whatever. And then they're happy. They're confident. They like their bodies. And off they go. And they have a great life. Or there's addicts. There's people who get one thing done and then they notice something else that needs to be done, and then another thing and another thing. And on it goes. And I've got a bit of an addictive personality with some things. And I reckon I could easily get caught up in that addicted patient trap. But I'd fix one thing and then I'd be like, all right, I feel great about this thing now. Let's pick something else to fix. And I've never forgotten him saying that, because it kind of, as much as I'd like to be the fix one thing and be done person, I can see myself going down the other road very easily too. So just to summarise the point of this live, I think, and if they did do it, I think good on them, that the second Grub Truck video was released because the online sleuthing of Hoodie Guy was getting so bad that they had to do something to take the heat off him. And they knew by releasing that other bit of video, it shows that he was having a great time with the girls and there was nothing suspicious going on. And look what happened. As soon as it came out, heaps of people were like, oh, well, it's clearly not Hoodie Guy, after they've literally slandered him and his family for weeks. I feel like they're just throwing little red herrings out to the social media users who can't be responsible and reasonable and patient. Kim Heffernan here. Hello, gorgeous. Don't get a small account. Remember Tori and AD's? Yes, that was a moment, wasn't it? Me too. I'm aging disgracefully. So, yeah, I think that this could be deliberate. And if it is, brilliant. If it's not, do it, guys. Do it. Because I think that there's potential for lawsuits and stuff down the track, for sure. But it's more likely they'd need to be instigated by families of victims and innocent people who've been hounded and so on. And for some of them, it just may not be something they can afford to do. I don't know if law enforcement are going to have the capacity to troll through thousands of social media posts and videos and all the different platforms and everything else to try and charge people. But I think if family members or friends of victims, if their lives have been seriously impacted and they have the money behind them to pursue a lawsuit, then it might happen. But I feel like the fact that the cops, not just in the Idaho murders, but even in the Queensland killings, a story that we're following, and I'm doing a live about that tonight, keep publicly asking people on social media to back off. And now you've got Kelly Gonsalves' dad asking people to stop doxing and contacting people. It makes perfect sense that flicking a few red herrings out, feeding the sharks, essentially, the sleuthers. So they'll all hone in on that and pull that apart, and they are. And even like I was saying, channels that used to be, I think, pretty responsible and sticking to the facts have bought into it too. And then you've got others who have literally defamed a hoodie guy and his family, even though it's never been verified even that it was him. More than likely it is him, but he was identified in this really weird online forum I'd never heard of before. Pretty lame. It's sort of like an attempt at being a Reddit, but not very good at it. And I reckon that putting that stuff out there, I mean, like I said, some of these reputable YouTubers have now latched onto it too. But with that second video showing Hoodie Guy was having a good time with the girls, you're now hearing channels going, oh, my bad, I got it wrong. And that's it. That's all they're saying. They're not asking their community who've probably been taking things real life to back off. They're not taking down those lives. Those lives are still up and monetized. And they keep, hey, him animal. Well, him animal, the person that I'm listening to with all of the hoodie guy talk and the Grub Truck videos is Kaylee's dad, because he knows her better than any of us do. And if it's not bothering him, then it's nothing to worry about, in my view. And I feel if this second Grub Truck video is a deliberate planted red herring to give the sleuths something else to crap on about for the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks while the cops get on with investigating it with the FBI, brilliant. And if it wasn't a deliberate tactic, it's something I reckon that law enforcement should consider doing in the future, because this is getting so out of hand and people are just not being accountable. They're not, I mean, it's not good enough to say, I got it wrong, and then move on and start honing in on the next person that they think looks dodgy. It's just ludicrous. Call off your community that have got their pitchforks raised and are ringing the tip line every 5 minutes and going real life and ringing the woman that owns the Elantra that was found in Oregon. Call them off. Be responsible. Tell them to stop calling that kid's family or sitting outside his house. That's what you do if you're a responsible person. And yet, if you're going to look into everything, then look into Kaylee's dad talking about it, because he knew her, he knows her, his baby, and he knows Maddie like a daughter. Don't cherry pick or ignore stuff that's important to observe and consider in all of this. The dad's not worried about it, so why are all these YouTubers? Hey, J Lord. Lana is now insinuating the ride-along guy. Oh, my God. The roommates and possibly Officer Payne a suspect. Well, the ride-along guy is in the specific list of, although you say on September the 1st. So it might be different to the one on the night. Yeah, great. GHI. Who's GHI? Entertaining more nonsense lately. Who's JHI? HI. Well done, Kim. I'm about to turn 56 and I've still got no idea. But happy belated birthday, Kim. Can people be prosecuted for making false allegations and accusing people of something they didn't do? Well, there's a lot of charges that currently exist, like interfering with the course of justice is one of them. I mean, there's even sort of the online harassment legislation. But I honestly think it's victims, friends and families that will have the most chance of succeeding with a lawsuit, because it'll be much easier for them to establish damages because of this behaviour. And I still go back to, I don't know if LA have the manpower to be, I mean, they've probably got the manpower to have some Poindexters on contracts, scouring social media and keeping them up to date on what's happening on those platforms, because they don't have time to do it. They're trying to find a killer or killers. But the fact that they keep asking social media to back off, like they're well aware of what's going on social media. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they have some, Poindexters doing all of that work, keeping an eye on it. But we need a precedent, we need legal precedents about this. We need people to sue or the cops to lay some sort of charges. But then when you look at like the Joseph Morrises of the world and what he did online and his channels there, doesn't seem to have been, I mean, who knows? We don't know it. But there's plenty of YouTubers being sued at the moment for stuff they've said online by families. There will be precedents soon, for sure. You're a classic. You're all talking makeup. I listen to Ellie, yes, and who knows? But Steve and his family knows a lot more. Exactly. Yeah, 10,000. And I imagine there'd be heaps more now too because of this new Grub Truck video. But yeah, Ellie, people who actually know the victims, they're kind of the priorities here. Not the YouTubers. My colleagues are arriving. See, it's Sundress Palooza. Yeah, look, Lana and her little brother, JLR, are very troublesome. Oh, yeah, okay. I wasn't going to mention any names. He said boobies, so he's a bad. Oh, the cop. I did see the booby thing. Isn't everyone so fucking righteous online? They're all so perfect, and you've got the I call them the Super Mum Olympics, all the ones that go in there like with Kylie Rodney. I wouldn't have let my 16-year-old daughter go to a party in the first place. The super mums with Athena Strand. I wouldn't let my child play outside in the garden in the first place. Irrelevant. Not your kid. Put yourself in the parents of those kids' shoes and the communities they live in, and also the personality of Kylie. Probably, I mean, the fact that she was 2 years ahead of her age group and about to graduate and head off to college. Pretty mature kid. What you would or wouldn't do is irrelevant, Super Mum Olympics competitors. Shut up. Yeah, I don't know about that. And wouldn't it be great to have a precedent particularly about that? Look, speculation is natural, but we do have some info, a tiny bit of info. And as it comes out, there's nothing better than factoring that new bit of information, that established fact, into the story. Because you can't debate facts. Facts and evidence are facts and evidence. They're not open to being overanalyzed. It's a fact right there, solid. That's a fact. As a defense lawyer, that's what we need. We need proven facts. That's what we focus in on. And if something comes out that's factual, yeah, add it to the mix. And there's nothing wrong with speculating when you're looking at the facts. And to be honest, a bit of logic doesn't hurt either, if the person's logical. But the problem is that I'm seeing with a lot of creators, some have been named in this live, is that they're not looking at it from an objective point of view. It's subjective because they're putting their own views. And I don't think it's okay for a middle-aged man to think he knows what two 20-something college drunk kids are talking about I don't think that it's okay to say this is what it means and I'm sticking to that. Look at all the different ways it could be interpreted. And go back to the father of the victims, because Maddie was like a daughter to them, who's not remotely fussed about it at all. Like, why are you ignoring that bit that's come straight out of the mouth of a father of the victims? Like, seriously. If the dad's not worried about it, nobody should be worried about it. It's kind of entertaining watching this unravel, really. Right, I mean, it's concerning, but it's also sort of entertaining because it's like, well, you are now all just so set in your ways and your beliefs and you're putting it out there as fact. That's where it becomes a problem. But yeah, I mean, the disclaimer that speculation's acceptable, it's bizarre. I know freedom of expression, right? It isn't slander, it's an opinion. Doesn't mean it's not a shitty one, does it? Yeah, I'm blown away by Morris too. Well, that's what Joe Lord, that's exactly where I come from. My video on this channel called Stop the Madness is about that point. Because if it was about them, God forbid any of them ever lose a family member or a friend, they'd be on YouTube 24/7 begging everyone to stop. They'd be sending out their communities with pitchforks to attack anyone who was speculating about their kid's murder. No doubt about it. But because they're not connected to these kids in any way, shape or form, it's on for young and old. No, he's still there. He can't go live, though. What a shame. Yeah, the booby thing, it seems a bit ludicrous. I mean, again, why are these people so pious and self-righteous? They think they're better than everyone else. So what? The guy said boobies. He could have said a million other words as well, and they'd be criticising whatever he said. Yeah, what they did with Athena's story is hideous. We want facts, not fiction. Yep, hashtag facts matter, hashtag victims matter. Yeah, she was. It was hideous. It was absolutely hideous and disgusting. And when it came out that, well, that's another thing I'm looking at the moment, J Lord. I'm doing a video on that. I've done one highlighting victims, friends and family and how social media has affected them. The next one I'm doing is people who've actually ended their lives because of social media harassment relating to cases. It's a big project, though. But I've got to go, guys. Last day at work, about to kick off the countdown to 3 p.m. when I'm on holidays and not back at work till the 16th of January. I am looking at the Queensland killings tonight. If you guys want to join me, a lot of info's come out about that story. It will be more of an update on what's come out rather than let's go down a speculation road. But there's enough information that I think you guys will find it very gripping. Have a beautiful day or night, everyone. And thanks for hanging out. And to my 500th subscriber, I love you. Until next time, everyone, don't get struck by a smooth criminal, especially one in a Santa hat. We'll see you all again very soon.